Closed factories, deep silence all around, factories and offices closing everywhere. These pictures must be shaking your heart. Today, even though you see America as the most powerful country in the world, but the pictures of the last few years of the 1920s and the 30s restoring silence or telling the story of the time when America was seeing its roaring 20s becoming silent. At this time a new word was born in America. Great Depression. Yes, this is the same Great Depression due to which America and many other countries went back 100 years. The situation in America had become so bad that people would stand in queues for hours for free coffee and donuts. Government and municipal employees were suspended indefinitely. There was misery and disparity all around. After all, what was this Great Depression, which changed the course of history and broke the back of a country like America? In the 1920s, the great American world was prosperity. Now the 30s and there is a new world depression. What is the primary cause of the depression as we call it? In
1910, Britain was the superpower of the world. Half the world was ruled by a few European countries and America was emerging as a leading industrial power. Everything was going well, but then on the 28th of July 1914, the European country Austria suspected Serbia of murdering its prince in Bosnia and attacked its neighboring country Serbia. Serbia was much smaller than Austria-Hungary, so it asked Russia for help to fight on its behalf in the war. Countries like Russia, Germany, Italy had their own reasons for joining this war, and this included the friendship of one country with another. When big countries joined the war, it started the World War. When the whole of Europe joined this war, their economy started falling due to the stoppage of production, which affected the whole world, and the slave countries of Europe had to take part in the World War even though they did not want to, which affected their economy as well. Now Europe needed food materials and grains and weapons which they were unable to make on their own, and America took advantage of this. America started making food, goods and weapons in its country and started sending them to Europe. New factories started opening in America. People started getting employment and the country's economy started growing. America's total export, which was $2.4 billion in 1913, became $6.2 billion in 1917. The rich people of America earned good profits in this war. The profits of America's biggest companies increased almost 10 times. American industries and the government had understood then itself that war is a highly profitable business, and hence they accelerated the work of making new weapons. When the war ended in 1918, the whole of Europe was destroyed. But by then America had become strong in every way, and so it started giving loans to the countries destroyed in the war and in return started keeping gold as collateral. Now everyone had employment in America. Big factories started opening there. Big people started coming there and investing. When people started getting money in their pockets, they started buying goods from the market, and at the same time America started opening new banks to give loans to buy new cars, roads, household goods and all of them. America was developing very fast. There was a revolution in every sector, and that is why 1920 is also called the beginning of the modern era. America's Roaring '20 era had started from 1920. People had money in their pockets, so they started buying new things, and due to which the demand for things started increasing in the market. When companies started growing, their shares also started increasing and people also started investing in the stock market. At the same time, women got the right to vote. Automobiles, telephones, films, radios and electric products started being used a lot in people's lives. Banks started giving loans to people to buy goods and invest in the stock market, and soon the number of banks also increased. By 1929, 17,583 state banks and 8,150 national banks had opened in America, and the ME system that exists today also started in America in those days. In the year 1923, the stock market of America started rising and kept rising. The stock market was doubling the money every year, and so people started investing more and more of their money in it. People started investing money in it by mortgaging their houses or taking loans from banks and stockbrokers. Everything was going well, but on the 24th of October 1929, about $5 billion were wiped out from the market in a single day. The reason for this was overproduction. Now there were more things in the market and less buyers. This directly affected the benefits of the stocks of these production companies. The companies were now heading towards losses. The market continued to fall the next day, and on the 29th of October 1929, the New York Stock Exchange suffered a loss of about $14 billion. According to the data, the Great Depression was born exactly 93 years ago, i.e. on the 29th of October 1929, when about 1.60 crore shares were suddenly sold in the American stock market. Now America started to deteriorate. The word Great Depression became common. Everyone feared that America was on the verge of ruin due to recession in the reckless race of the stock market. But the truth was something else. On the 8th of March 1929, Paul Warburg, who was the vice chairman of the Federal Reserve, the Central Bank of America during the First World War, told the president that the American stock market is now becoming a speculative market and this can have dangerous results. Stockbrokers increase the price of a single stock by investing more money in it without any rules and regulations and then suddenly sell all the shares and bring down its price. Due to this, stockbrokers are getting double profit and the public is getting double loss. But then the president did not pay any attention to this. A few days passed and the Federal Reserve also understood this, so it also told this to the government. Now when the Federal Reserve Bank said this, people got scared and started selling their shares, due to which the stock market started falling. But then the American National Bank invested $25 million in the market at once, due to which the market started going up and people started buying shares again. The common people and the government were still not able to understand that all this was a conspiracy of stockbrokers and banks and they were running the market according to their own wishes. Here, by June 1929, people's income stopped and at the same time banks also increased the loan interest rate from 4% to 6%. The effect of this was that people reduced taking loans and due to this their buying capacity also decreased. On the 22nd of October 1929, the first big fall came in the stock market and on the 24th of October the market fell by 11% at once. There was panic among the people. Everyone reached Wall Street to sell their shares and a huge crowd gathered there. A few days later, when the stock market rose a little due to the investment of many banks and big businesses, people continued to sell shares because now their confidence had been lost. Then in October to November 1929, when people's income started decreasing, banks and stockbrokers started getting worried about how people would repay their loans. Therefore, they started pressuring people to return the loans as soon as possible. Some people were able to do this by selling their shares. But most people were making loss-making deals in the stock market and so they could not repay the loan. Gradually, when the banks did not get their money back, they started incurring losses and went bankrupt. Seeing this, the people who had deposited money in the bank started withdrawing their money from the bank. But when the bank did not have money, what would it give? Now along with the loan givers and the takers, those who had deposited their money in the banks also got ruined. Now most of the people in America did not have any money. Now when people did not have money, they were not in a position to buy anything and this also affected the farmers. When the First World War was going on, European countries needed grains. At such a time, the farmers of America took many steps to increase their production, like buying new machines, buying land and renting land. In this course of action, the farmers made a lot of profit and they also became rich. But when the war ended, the demand for grain started decreasing. But the farmers still continued production because now people were buying grains from them at a lower price and the farmers wanted to sell as much grain as possible to meet their expenses. By 1929, when people started running out of money in their pockets, how could the farmers survive? And that is why they also came on the streets. On one hand, production was increasing and on the other hand, unemployment was also increasing at the same pace. Due to increasing unemployment, the income of people, especially laborers, decreased a lot. Workers started getting laid off in factories and efforts were made to sell the finished goods at a lower price, due to which the speed of economic crisis increased further. When America saw this, it imposed import duty on goods coming from outside to save its farmers and business, so that goods made in America could sell more. But along with America, other countries also wanted to correct their economy and after the war, all the countries were trying to recover themselves from the destruction caused by this war by becoming self-reliant. Seeing America, other countries also imposed higher taxes on goods coming from foreign countries and fixed the quantity of goods coming from abroad. Everywhere, emphasis was laid on using indigenous things instead of foreign things. New laws related to immigration control were implemented. Now the effect of this was that international business became much less than before. Now its biggest impact was on those countries which were ruined in the war and were now preparing to return the loan. They needed international business very much and that had come to a standstill. Also, when America's condition started deteriorating, it started demanding its money back from its debtor countries. But how could those who did not have money to eat repay the loan? When America gave loans to these countries during the war, it took gold from those countries in return for the loan and kept it with itself. Due to giving loans to most of the countries involved in the war, Gradually, 60% of the world's gold got deposited in America. This caused a shortage of gold in the world, and the currency of those countries collapsed due to the increase in the price of gold coins at different places. When America did not get its loan back, the condition of America worsened, and the condition of European countries also started deteriorating because now they neither had anyone to give them a loan nor had any production started after the destruction of the World War. Now, when the bad condition of America affected the war-torn European countries, it started affecting the whole world as well, because at that time more than half the world was ruled by a few European countries. Many types of effects were seen on the economy from Europe to Africa and Asia to Australia. Austria was the first victim of the economic crisis. On the 11th of May 1931, people came to know that Austria's largest non-governmental bank credit institute was about to go bankrupt. The effect of this was that the entire European countries panicked and started believing that it was futile to expect the repayment of loans from these states. Germany was more affected by this because the banking business there was already going through a bad phase. At that time, the Australian government issued a notice to console the people and even said that it would take the responsibility of all the foreign obligations of the bank. But the economic crisis had increased so much that even after the government's assurance, the situation did not improve. In Germany, people were so scared that in just 3 weeks, foreign capitalists withdrew their deposited loans worth £50 million from the German bank. This also affected the German businessmen, and they also started withdrawing their deposited money in large amounts from their country's largest financial institution, Damast and National Bank Damast, on one pretext or the other. When the situation started worsening, the bank itself had to be closed. After this, seeing the situation, the government closed all the banks except the Reich Bank for an indefinite period. With the closure of the banks, the recession increased further. The condition of the people started deteriorating, and it affected the middle class the most. Due to the Great Depression, the unemployment increased the most in Germany. In 1929, about 60 lakh people of Germany lost their jobs. This Great Depression also affected the politics of Germany, due to which the image of the ruling people of Germany got tarnished. So the leader of the Nazi Party, Adolf Hitler, took advantage of this and declared himself the government. Nazism had established its rule over Germany due to the economic crisis in Germany. The failure of banks in Austria and Germany also affected Britain, and there also people started withdrawing their money from the Bank of England because people no longer had faith in the banks. When the condition of the Bank of England started deteriorating in July 1931, then in August it saved itself by taking a loan of £50 million from the American and French banks. But this did not make much difference. People had lost their faith, and so they continued to withdraw their money from the Bank of England. To deal with this economic crisis, Prime Minister MacDonald resigned and formed a national government with the opposition parties. But people's faith did not return, and on the 18th of September 1931, £18 million were withdrawn from the bank. Frustrated, when the British government refused to accept the value of its currency as per the gold standard, the value of the pounds decreased by 1/4. This benefited England, but it backfired on other European countries. There was already a fall in prices. After this, there was a further fall. Most of the stock exchanges in Europe were closed, and many other countries also abolished the gold standard. Only a few countries like America, France, Italy maintained the gold standard. Now factories and industries started closing due to lack of money in Europe. People became unemployed. People started selling land, houses, and vehicles to feed themselves. In America, people sold everything and started living in their cars, and those who did not have cars started living in huts. Such huts started appearing at many places in America, and people called them Hooverville because they believed that President Herbert Hoover was responsible for all that was happening in the country, and their condition had worsened. When most of the people of America had come on the streets, people did not even have the facility to live and eat. Due to lack of food, they had to survive on free soup and bread given by many institutions and the government. At the same time, in 1931, sandstorms also came several times in many states of America, due to which sand accumulated on the cultivable land, and whatever little farming was happening also stopped. People had to wander from door to door for livelihood, and many people had to leave their village homes and go to other places. There was a huge decline of 45% in manufacturing and 80% in construction in America, due to which the economy was completely shaken, and 1/4 of the people in America were fired from their jobs. By the year 1933, the rate of unemployment in the whole of America had increased to more than 25%. During the Roaring Twenties, the banks of America had given immense loans to the people. Then during the Great Depression, the banks tried to recover the loans, but people were not in a position to repay the loans, and hence more than 11,000 banks had to be declared bankrupt. The effect of this Great Depression lasted for 10 years, and due to which poverty and hunger reached a different level in the whole world. That is, by 1932 and 33, the Great Depression had wreaked havoc in the world. The Great Depression was at its peak. All the countries were trying to recover from it, but the condition of America was the worst. When everyone was troubled by the recession in 1933, people started agitating against the governments. The effect of this was that when elections were held in America in 1933, Franklin Delano Roosevelt became the new president. As soon as he became the president, he started the work of getting America out of this recession, which is called the New Deal program. In this, he made rules and regulations for banks, markets, and share markets, such as the Emergency Banking Bill, the Glass-Steagall Act, the Farm Credit Act, the National Industry Recovery Act, the Truth in Security Act. By passing many such important bills, he assured the common people that now they can invest money in banks and share markets because now it is safe. People showed faith in him, and those who had money started investing money in banks and share markets, due to which the share market started rising again. Apart from this, America had to face drought every year, for which the president started a campaign to plant trees at various places, in which many people also got employment. America's vehicle was slowly coming back on track. Now the bank did not give loan for investing in the share market, and other loans were also given only after checking the complete papers, due to which the fear of loss to the banks reduced. Work started again in America, and by 1937 the unemployment rate came down to 14.3%. All this was going on when the Second World War started in Europe. And what happened was that when the Second World War broke out in 1939, Europe needed weapons and other goods, and America took advantage of this. It restarted its closed factories and started making new modern weapons and selling them to Europe. Due to the war, there was a shortage of grains in the world again, and the condition of the farmers of America also started improving again. Later in 1941, America also joined this war. By the time the Second World War ended, America had become strong again, and after that it did not look back, and when America became strong, the Great Depression also started ending slowly from the world, because the Great Depression also started from America. The Great Depression not only caused damage to the world but also changed the world. After the Great Depression, many changes took place in the world. The Soviet Union was a communist country, due to which it completely cut itself off from the capitalist system. All the capitalist countries also ended business and relations with them. The Soviet Union got a great benefit from this, due to which it was able to save itself from the Great Depression. Due to this Great Depression, the leaders of the big opposition parties started campaigning against the leaders in power that their capitalist leaders are completely responsible for the poor condition of the common people. If seen, the work of promoting fascism was done during this recession. Many big leaders of many countries were in power. They were removed from power due to this Great Depression. In Germany, Hitler had a very good hold on power because of this Great Depression. At the same time, in Japan, the Ride Tokas illegally infiltrated China and developed mines in Manchuria, saying that this would provide relief to the Great Depression to a great extent. Due to this Great Depression, people started wandering around hungry and thirsty, due to which hatred arose in the hearts of people, and gradually this hatred turned into the Second World War. During the Great Depression, people became enemies of each other. Gradually, when the Second World War was declared due to the Great Depression, many countries like America chose to make weapons as the best way to strengthen their economy. They made such weapons which promoted violence, military force, and power in many countries. Due to this weapon manufacturing, many people in America also got jobs, and there was a huge change in domestic production there. Due to this reason, America soon managed to come out of the Great Depression, and after seeing America, many countries started earning huge profits through this path. After the Second World War, America started a plan to strengthen its Western countries according to the rules of martial law. America made a huge contribution to the reconstruction of the countries destroyed by the World War. But their real motive was to completely stop the spread of communism and to increase capitalism so that America could benefit from it. For this, America gave aid of $17 billion to European countries, and after this America's power gradually increased, which was impossible to stop. The Great Depression also affected India. Although India was under British rule at that time, most of the population of India was dependent on agriculture. Therefore, raw material was produced in large quantities here. Before the Great Depression, India had started exporting agricultural products and importing finished goods. During the Great Depression, when the prices of products started falling in the international markets, the prices of crops here also decreased a lot. The effect of this was that between the years 1928 and 1934, The price of wheat in India decreased by 50% and import-export decreased to almost half. During this period, farmers and businessmen suffered a double blow. Due to the fall in the prices of grains, not only did their income decrease, but the British government also did not give any exemption in the collection of rent. The worst condition was of those people who made and sold goods for the world market. What would they do when the business itself closed down? Not only this, when the export from India decreased, the prices of jute also fell by more than 60%. Due to which those agricultural laborers of Bengal who had started cultivating raw jute in the hope of earning good money, were burdened with debt. Due to no means of earning, gradually all their savings were exhausted. During the same time, along with farmers and agricultural laborers, daily wage workers also had to struggle for food. They did not even have money for 2 meals a day. In such a situation, to meet their expenses, they started selling household jewelry in the jewelry market. Gold started reaching the market in large quantities, and the British government took full advantage of this helplessness of the people. They started exporting gold and other precious metals from India. This improved the economy of Britain, but there was no change in the condition of Indian farmers. In the year 1931, the Great Depression was at its peak, and the people of India were struggling with it unnecessarily due to British rule. It is not that the Great Depression had the same effect on all people in India. The Great Depression did not affect the fixed salary employees living in the cities of India and the landlords whose income was fixed because they had a means of earning. They did not have to face dangerous situations like other people. So the Great Depression that started in 1929 ended 10 years later around 1939, and hence it is called the longest lasting recession till date.